should be somebody who argued for leave rather than somebody who argued for remain. I think there are a whole host of...
have to follow through on policies that they didn't personally vote on. And Theresa May, has said that she would be very willing to go ahead. She thinks it's important to follow the will of the country and has said that she would follow it through.
Yes, I mean, but it is a strange result, isn't it, that the country should vote to leave the European Union and somebody who campaigned to remain in the European Union should see us through that leave process. It seems to me simply more cumbersome than is necessary. The other thing, by the way, very quickly, is that it's always possible that somebody who is trying to do something that they don't themselves or didn't themselves believe in may well hear the wrong sort of noises from the public. And let me give you one very quick example. Theresa May has been notable among candidates so far, whatever the other virtues of her campaign, in not reassuring EU nationals working in the UK that their residency here is safe. I myself think this is a big mistake. This should have been clear from the first hour after the vote came out. But Theresa May still sticking on that and not reassuring EU nationals of their status in the UK is a sort of thing, a sort of mishearing, I would say, of the public. I don't think that very many members of the public who voted leave did so in order to get, EU nationals working in London, for instance, into this period of great uncertainty. So I think there's a serious problem of somebody who campaigned to remain hearing the wrong things from the public when they voted to leave.
Okay, well, let's bring in Ryan Shorthouse. That is a fair point, isn't it? If it isn't your message, is it possible to mishear it? And because of the conclusiveness of the vote, shouldn't the next leader of the Conservative Party be somebody who supported leaving?
No, I don't buy this argument. I mean, all Tory leadership contenders have said they'll respect the democratic mandate and they are for Brexit. So the idea that they're going to be half-hearted about it just doesn't add up. They are passionate public servants. They're patriotic. They're accountable to the electorate and their colleagues. Of course, they're going to try and get the best deal for Britain. And that's what MPs today should be deciding on. Who is the person who has got the best vision and ideas for our relationship with the EU, and who has got the skills and experience most likely to deliver it? And if I could say, actually, there is more to life, thank goodness, and more to government than our relationship with the EU. There are big questions around our economy, our society, our environment, and the Tory party need to pick somebody who has the breadth of experience and a plan to cover all of those big issues, not just Europe.
That's a fair point, isn't it, Douglas? Obviously, Brexit will dominate the next Parliament, the current Parliament, but that's not all there is to running a country. It needs to be the person who's best for the job.
Absolutely. I don't deny that for a second. I'm simply suggesting that it would be wise if the electorate were listened to and the will of the people were followed through by somebody who agreed with the people. Seems to me a fairly fundamental point, albeit one that obviously causes some disagreement. But then, obviously, you need to go on to who has the best experience and the most comprehensive set of policies. I think there are very obviously two people, to my mind at any rate, in the running at the moment, Michael Gove and Liam Fox, both of whom have substantial cabinet experience, as of course does Theresa May, but that both Liam Fox and Michael Gove are people who passionately campaigned for the leave side in the referendum, the winning side in the referendum, and both of whom have, as I say, very substantial, significant cabinet experience, experience of pushing through difficult policies, and, of course, crucially also, a whole range of policies on other issues. So I think the attempt to sort of narrow it down to a one-horse race is preemptive, at any rate.
Ryan, would you agree with that? Do you think that Michael Gove and Liam Fox are the ones with the best experience, with the best policies?
Well, what I would say is that Bright Blue, we're not picking a particular person. We back particular ideas. But what we are looking for is somebody who draws on and develops Cameron's winning formula. Cameron has been one of the most successful Conservative prime ministers, and really his whole project was about economic, social, environmental responsibility, and we're looking for somebody who can draw on that. And what I would say is...
I just wanted to very quickly step in. It seems to me a lot of viewers will think, as I do, that it's quite hard at this stage to describe David Cameron as one of the most successful British Prime Ministers. He had to step down only a few days ago because of something which was a crisis of his own making. Whatever the other judgments of history, and there are many things, of course, to be said in David Cameron's favour, I think that a Conservative campaign at this stage that decided to go on the idea that David Cameron is one of the most successful Conservative Prime Ministers ever is a campaign that not only risks not listening to the country, but coming itself to some kind of juddering halt.
Ryan, who do you respond to that, please?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is if you look at the 2010-2015 result, in terms of Conservative Party history, that is one of the most impressive results. Building on the 2010 victory, that's something which is quite rare in history. So Cameron should be credited for that. But of course, we're now moving to a new era.
Sorry, I've got to pick you up on this. As I say, whatever his other virtues, we mustn't misread history. In 2015, David Cameron, having promised the Conservative Party that if it changed, it would win, managed not to win a majority, and in 2010 had to go into a coalition with the Liberal Democrats. It seems to me extraordinary that anybody advocating for the Conservative Party could rewrite this as being a great success. Then, in 2015, he managed to squeeze through with a tiny majority. I mean, really, if this is Conservative Party, view of success, I'd hate to see what their view of failure looked like these days.
No, sorry, Douglas, I'm not rewriting history. It is very rare for a Prime Minister to build on and improve their result from a previous election, which is what David
from
Cameron
losing
did.
to not losing?
Well, no, there was a coalition, they were the biggest party, and then he went on to win a majority. But of course, this debate, which we're having today, is not about David Cameron, it's beyond that, it's about the next leader. And I think, people voted in the 2015 general election for a Conservative Party, which covered a whole suite of policies on the economy, on society, the EU and the environment, and we should be picking somebody on that basis. That was what the election was for, not on whether they were Remainer or Brexiteer. We need to
I think we just have to accept that everyone wants to move beyond it, but I just think that we have to also concede that what happened on the 23rd of June was important, that it was a very large voter turnout, that the voters asked for something very specific, and that it would be a great mistake, I think, for our politics in general if anyone pretended that it was business as usual and that, we all just pretended that we just heard whatever we particularly wanted to hear from that result, or indeed just ignored that result. Nobody wants to be monomaniac and remain stuck on the EU question for eternity, obviously. And it's very important that whoever leaves the country in the future is somebody who is not just looking internally to EU disputes and how we get out and so on. Obviously, they have to have a wide range of policies and views and expertise. But it is also, as I say, it seems to me obvious that the next Prime Minister should be somebody who can reflect, because they did reflect, the will of the people as expressed in such a large turnout on the 23rd of June. OK,
Ryan, we've only got a short time. Last word to you, please.
Yeah, well, all the Conservative Party candidates are committed to Brexit. They're not going to fall back on that, and I don't think anybody's going to be half-hearted about it. Everybody wants Britain to succeed. But the key